voting power is increasingly linked to race and ethnicity. As the American population has shifted more and more to large urban areas, particularly on the coasts, and those urban areas and coastal areas have become more and more diverse, while a lot of the inland in the United States is not diverse at all, particularly places like Wyoming. I mean, Wyoming is, the last data I saw, 92% white. But you have a place like California that is 37% white. And yet the reality is voters in Wyoming have 4 times more power than the typical voter in California. The Electoral College also gives Wyoming much more power than the typical voter in California. Now, I have nothing against Wyoming, but I think if we're being realistic about equal protection under the law, the 14th Amendment, the idea of equal voting rights, regardless of race or ethnicity, then I think we've got to really understand what's happening in this country. The founding fathers of the United States obviously understood that land was important and territory was important, but the Constitution is a living document. I mean, after all, initially, they treated Black people as if they were 3/4 of a human being. We've come a long way. And farmland or open territory is just not as critical or important as people. I don't think it ever was, but arguably you might have said at one point in time, maybe population shifts are going to go into rural areas. So we want to make sure that rural states have a certain degree of proportional representation. Well, we're way beyond that. The American population has moved, and it is moving rapidly into not cities per se, but vast agglomerations of cities and suburbs. And, whether you're talking about the greater Chicago area or the greater New York area or the greater Bay Area in California or the Los Angeles area, these are huge centers of population. They are very diverse. They are in many ways the future of the country. And we ought to recognize that. An easier way of doing it would be to follow, with regard to the Electoral College, the interstate compact on voting, which is very close to getting a number of states on board. And all the states have to do is agree that when other states, totaling 270 electoral votes, when they all agree that all of the popular votes in their states will be going to the winner of the popular vote, that's it. That's all they have to do. And we're already there. We don't have to have a constitutional amendment to abolish the Electoral College. All we have to do is have that agreement. That it's not just the Electoral College, it is also the way the Senate is constructed. The idea that there are 2 senators for a place like Wyoming that has a population of under 500,000, while there are 2 senators for California that has a population of close to 30 million, when I last looked, makes it obvious that you are seeing wider and wider disparities in terms of voting power, and that voting power is increasingly linked to race and ethnicity because, let's face it, there are a higher proportion of Black and brown people in places like California and New York. My fear is that given population trends, we're going to be seeing more and more elections in which the popular vote goes in one direction and the Electoral College vote goes in another. We had it in 2000, we had it in 2016, and we may see again and again and again if we don't rectify this problem.